BDS Academy, they respond very quickly with a Karma Volley Bear. A very lethal pairing if you get those two together. But Oplon, they're doubling down. They say, hey, you know what? This Callista Nautilus lock looks pretty good. Let's go ourselves.
Yeah, okay, cool. You can potentially see BDS Academy here, they're hovering there, Ezreal pivoting towards something that can neutralize a bit. They're not looking to win that bot side. Going to probably be looking for that R5. I would imagine they look for the R5 top or mid counter now. I mean, obviously, they're going to I would imagine that probably goes towards the top side. Adam's a player that we've seen not exactly be played through, but he's definitely someone that can blow the game open if he gets that lead. I think most notably is the game against Solari he had, where Kyo gets first blood on the Akshan. And then Olaf, Adam wins that pretty decisive 1v1 on the Olaf, which then storms him through to the game. Um, for me, yeah, I think Oplon in this second ban phase need to take away some of these picks. The Olaf, like we just mentioned, I think has to be taken away. Some other picks as well. Maybe
I
the
think
Darius
Victor,
as well.
honestly.
Yeah,
If
Victor
Because
as well could be good. Rika's been
likelihood
very good on
is
Victor as well, to be fair.
exactly, yeah. The likelihood is that if you're alluding to this red side 5 top lane counter pick, I don't see a concern with taking away one of Rika's best blind picks. Has played the Victor very well, hasn't actually won on it just yet, but is also an opportunity that they don't want to get rid of that because this Karma can get flexed into the mid lane. They don't go for that. They're going to go for this double shielding style, I suppose, with the mid and support combo. Obviously, Orianna does much more than shield. She's not known for the shielding prowess, but certainly has that capability open to her, where they're now saving for that R5 on the top side.
Yeah, probably going to see, I'd imagine Dalek default back to like a NAR, something like a safe blind, something that's not going to get taken out too much. One of
Yeah,
your problems that
Scion
you run
on
into,
capability too.
yeah, Scion, no, it's going to be something like that. You probably want to go for the Scion, maybe. I feel like you're opening Adam in some ways to go for some of the more niche picks he might play. I don't think he'd quite pull out Tryndamere in a composition like this. Camilla's a good pick if you're worried about that. I think it stops him from going for something like that. I'd expect Adam to go for something a bit less spicy with this Camilla, something that can contend with it now, but not going to be like massively out there.
Gwen, perchance, still
Yeah.
exists. I think they want AD in the top lane though. They're,
There's a
they're,
bit too
they're
there's a bit too much magic damage here if you go the Gwen, I think.
yeah, I'm down with that. I think that the Gwen, whilst getting through the ban phase, certainly no issue, I suppose, with it being let through this draft. The set comes through as the R5 of choice to really, literally throw fists.
It's not bad. I think the matchup's not incredibly one-sided either way. I think Camille, if she spaces well, can win it. But I think obviously Adam going to be has quite a lot of utility. You know, you put the ball on him, put the ball on him from Oriana. To me, BDS Academy, I think it would be fair to say have quite like a team fight oriented team. I think in contrast, so do Team Oplon. So it's going to be a game of team fights for me. I think side lane utility is a thing because I think when Camille gets to that 3 item sort of mark, it's when you can start to see her really out the set a bit more. If set doesn't quite get off to that curve that we need to see from him. Oplon team very much talks about trial by fire. In all of these games, they've kind of been completely torn apart limb from limb, but that is owing somewhat to strength of schedule. We'll have to see whether they can survive. A lot of it, for me, comes from the solo lanes, whether they can kind of weather the storm that is BDS Academy. Have been quite individually impressive. Adam can look kind of a bit skewered sometimes, but Rika especially been very impressive. But speaking of things that are impressive, we are going to be cutting to game around about now, so don't go anywhere. We'll be joining you on the Rift Race shortly for BDS Academy versus Oplon last game. We are on to the Rift now. BDS Academy versus Oplon. Oplon, we said it just a few moments ago, a team really struggling to look for that win, obviously coming off the back of a rather disastrous last split. Obviously, Zequel was that saving grace in the... Well, we have zoomed out way too much. This is like looking at ants from an airplane. I've never seen champions be this small before. Have you, rude dude?
Well, yes, but only through my own curiosity. It was imparted upon me by my own, my own self wanting to see how far out the director
You should never
zoomed.
You should never do stuff like this. I feel like it's just you're playing God at that point. It's going to come back to you in like some sort of like divine cosmic justice.
That would be pretty cool, though.
No, not really. I think it's like Frankenstein, isn't it? If you play with kind of ideals like this, you end up getting burnt. in a very bad way. I think our observers are going to come up to some sort of tragedy, maybe.
Oh no, well,
sorry, observers.
my
bad
best
things.
wishes to our observers
best wishes to the observers and whatnot. But yeah, bad things coming your way,
you've already
guys.
been killed in a different life, in a different dimension.
That's a bit.
Don Jake has just smote you.
Yeah, Smite. Well, there's a lot of, 2 champions with Smite this game, so it would make sense for a dude. Nice little segue there. Segueing back into normality and just generally speaking about the game. Oplon, a team that kind of need these wins. You speak about Zekor coming in that previous split, got those 2 wins towards the end of the split. They did finish in that dead 10 spot. They now need those championship points to stay up from relegation. And as we're mounting towards the first third of the split mark, it starts to be getting more dangerous and dangerous against a team like BDSA Academy. Although they're a bit stronger than their record might suggest, for me, is a team that you might want to be looking to contest a bit more. And a lot of that has to come from these mid lane solo lanes who, a lot of the time, if it goes badly from the early game, especially Schernfire as well, then it can look like a really bad game.
I think that Oplon in particular actually are. I think that their shining points have been Peng and Zico. I think that Peng has actually had a very good season thus far, just hasn't been able to. He's not had an 0-4 season, but he's certainly not had a 4-0 season, if that makes sense. He's been a player that has been very good at going even, very good at being a presence later on, but that doesn't particularly generate those advantages for himself. We saw, I believe it was actually just last game that Oplon played, that he was 3-0, 4-0 on an RE, was the person with the tools to, have to carry the game, and unfortunately just didn't quite have the skill set, the tool set, whatever it may be, available. I know we've harkened on about Oplon being able to play through their bot lane. If Zico gets ahead, we know he's a very mechanically gifted AD carry. But I also want to give some credit over to Peng, because in team fights, in skirmishes, he is one who can pick up those kills, can dish out the damage, and be a consistent threat for Oplon.
Yeah, completely. And on this kill list, it's very much heading in that direction. Strangely enough, actually, completely out-centered at the point. Twist was actually a sub on X7 we've spoken about before. His fellow sub was actually a guy called KT, who is quite known. He's not a one-trick, but he's known as being one of the more famous Kalista players on the server. So he's actually quite used to playing with, or being surrounded by players who are quite proficient at Kalista. And Zekor himself, I've seen many a montage with many a Kalista clip in it. Very, very good at this champion. When he used to play for a team that I managed, I remember watching him in scrims, and he would just absolutely dismantle people. But a gank coming in the mid lane from Shio. Peng is going to have to flash here. He's going to get chunked out here. Going to have to flash any second now. Schernfire's here for a return. There's going to be one more auto. Shio finds it. Rika goes low as well. Schernfire can't find him in response quite. The Conqueror has been stacked here. Schernfire has a flash to play with. Gets level 4, but then flashes away. Trying to find that Shio, rather. Trying to find that Q to stun him out here.
Oh, clone.
A lot of damage. E in response will give the shield. They're playing with the wave here. Schernfire has W over the wall here. Will he look for it? Quite.
With cooldowns just starting to cycle back up for Rika, it's too dangerous to go for. Peng caught out there in the early stages. A little bit of a issue that we have seen from the Oplon solo lanes in a few games gone by is that hesitancy to respect those early ganks, and Shio finds the angle, finds the line in, and manages to pick up this quick kill here. The Volibear rolls forward, doesn't flash in time, knows that he would have got slowed up at the very least by that E, but not going to go into that one. Flash potentially a little bit late if he wants to try and get away from the
idea here
stun.
from Peng is that he's trying to buy time for his jungler here to potentially bait out. He does flash slightly too late. I understand the idea in terms of just allowing Schernfire to get there, but he gets taken out, and it is a plague on a rye for Oplon. Seen it happen so many times before that this early first blood doesn't go their way quite. Why is it the case that we can sort of hear things in the replay, but then when it comes to the game, it's all deaf? Makes me feel very strange. It's like quite horrific. There's like a silence that has descended upon the rift. It's quite like Silent Hill like.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe
the
nightmare on Oplon Street maybe is what's
the nightmare on Summoner's Rift is the easier one. But then it's a bit. Is that too far away from the original?
No, I don't think so. I've never seen the film. I will have to let you know. But,
Neither have I.
Well, then why are you criticising me?
No, I was criticising myself.
Oh, that's good. It's good to be self-reflective. But thinking of things that have been reflected, a lot of the pressure that Zico and Twist, you'd imagine they have in this early game, has been reflected by strong duo from Ezreal and Karma, able to negate a lot of that early pressure. Schernfire obviously not able to get down to that bot side and impact the lanes thus far. Race has gone behind here. It's attacked here by a return. Render's going to come out and do a little bit of damage. He has to flash away here.
keeping hold of that rend actually is Zico. Wants to make sure that he can either ensure lethal damage or is able to, easily enough farm the wave. Shio is spending his time taking out the dragon. This is very nice because it gives a good early condition to BDSA. Not one that they necessarily need, but one that they can look toward. The late game team fighting of a Victor is certainly going to be something very scary that they're going to have to play up against. Dream Race
doesn't have flash. He's going to get engaged on here. He's trying to do a lot of damage, but Zico has that cleanse. Here comes Crowny as well. And this is an absolute nightmare for BDS Academy. Dream Race, what are you doing? Twist has to block this last Q. And it's not an auto attack that will take down Zico. 2 kills. You'd like the second kill to go on to Zico, but they'll be very happy with that. And Dream Race, buddy, what are you doing? That's a dream far too far forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's thinking, okay, I've got Mantra W, I can maybe sustain, but we touched on this last game. Kalista Nautilus do a lot of damage, and they're able quite handily to dish you out the damage, going even through that Mantra W, and knew that Zico was fairly low, expecting the Ignite to do a little bit of work, but a very well-timed cleanse meant that there was only 1 tick of Ignite that went down before Zico, stops taking damage effectively and able to turn the 2v2 in their favor, as Crowny also goes forward, trying to resurrect the play of his teammate, and that, again, goes pretty poorly.
Yeah, completely. And it's a misfire. We've spoken about in previous games rather, how Crowny and Dreamer Ace, well, Crowny and Odo before the Dreamer Ace actually came and replaced him around three or so games in kind of a weak point for BDS Academy. And sometimes it's the map state that leads to that being the case, but a lot of the time it is. The most important example is the game they had against Solari most recently, where it was Crowny level 1 with the Twitch, queuing into the enemy blue buff and giving away that first blood. He's been a player that has a lot of ups and downs. In his greatest moments, he looks very, very good. It's a misfire here. Dies for the sins of his support, and they're going to be getting zoned off of a massive wave here now. Rika is here to respond, though. Zico gets an ultimate out here. He's going to be getting flashed upon in a second or so, you'd imagine. A lot of damage. Rika does find Shermfire off to the side here. Zico does not have any sums available. Dream Race gets Twist, but the W is going to find it as well. Shio, this should be another kill now. And while the tides of fortune were found for Oplon, find themselves at the sacrifice of giving over that kill from Shermfire.
So 1 kill down in the bot lane. BDS Academy able to right the wrongs, I suppose, using the 2 men of mid-jungle down and help out Crowny and Dream Race a little bit. The kill does go over to Rika, which is, once again, kills in the right spot. Getting a nice little bit of chunk on the Ori, getting a nice chunk of gold, rather, on the Ori. And an extra red buff as well, just to make
Shermfire's
those
pathing for top, but
windups.
Volley's going to be here soon. This could end up being a good play for Team Oplon. He has started up the Rift Herald. He's going to get spotted out here. Doesn't end up being the play. Just look at that topside matchup. You think about how much the CS is going on there. It's not exactly 30. It's around about 26 or so, but still, Dalek getting absolutely abused in the topside by Adam. Adam, known as being a lane bully, known for being very dominant in lane, was the case when he was traditionally first in the LFL, and we saw that dominant split on Carmine Corp. He's doing an absolute masterclass, putting on a clinic against Dalek so far. No jungle intervention, but a massive lead being gained.
And this is that power of that R5 counter pick. It's why we suggested Adam should get it. It's why we were saying that the BDS Academy
I don't think this is much down to counter pick, by the way. I think this is more down to just Adam just completely dominating and just cracking open Dalek's skull so far.
Well, if Adam thinks it's a good pick, I can appreciate it, and I appreciate that he's been given the 5th pick.
Yeah.
This was his counter pick to Camille. Say what you like. That is a statement that is true. It may not be a counter pick in general, but it's a matchup he feels comfortable with.
Yeah, fair enough. Twist has level 6 here. Going to find Dream Race stun. Return poke means that not quite there. Oplon might have liked to have seen Zico go a bit more aggressive there, but you don't quite know where the rotations are coming out from BDS Academy. Makes it difficult to pull the trigger, but one of my points that I wanted to bring up in regards to what you just said is, spoke about how Oplon, a pressure point for them was the solo lanes. Peng kind of has been good at going even in some matchups, but that's not going to win you many games. Adam's going to go aggressively here. He is able to get Dalek away, but a pressure point, especially if you want to talk about the solo lanes, particular focus on this top side. And this is really where some of these games get broken open. I remember specifically, I believe it was either he was against the Gangplank or on Gangplank was Dalek, where he gave over a very, very bad first blood, which really ended up scaling the game forward in an advantage for the enemy team. Adam's going to have a big wave here. Be seeing if he plays with it on the dive here. It's going to look like he goes for the play here instead. Against
Vitality B, Dalek on Ornn, ease into the turret at level 4.
Yeah, that's it.
and gives Sagenda the gold over, but Hook goes wide bot lane. Crowny able to just about dodge out on that one, as Oplon continuing to try and force a little bit of control in the bot lane, where the bot side itself largely being dominated by the BDS Academy team. You can see that Rico pairing up there with Shio, making sure that there's at least a little bit of help when trying to put some vision down, and a ward in on the Raptor camp is going to get swept away, I suppose, more cleaned away by a control ward placed by Feng. Now they're looking to set up around this dragon. First one did go to BDS Academy, and with a volley bear, you expect early game control. That first dragon, certainly no surprise. Oplon looking to get some more.
Shio's looking for a counter engage onto Zico. He can't quite find it. Orianna ult is been primed here. Here's the Kalista engage. They find Shio almost. He gets a lot of health back here. Sherm fires on the back here. Here comes Zico. Dream Race flashes away. Teleport has come in here from Adam. A lot of cooldowns burnt here. Peng still has ultimate, obviously, but it's going to be difficult. A flash from Adam onto Zico. Into the wall now. That's the slam. Twist going to get taken out as well. And you really needed to find kills there if you were Oplon, with so many crucial cooldowns burnt there. But unfortunately, team fight scales over, and it's going to mean that BDS Academy respond now with 2 kills and the dragon.
Yeah, and the volley bear ultimate just enough. Shenfire going to go down as well, down in the bot side, as the first brick is going to get broken open. Crowny and Shio going to get themselves a big chunk of gold. Shio going to help with Dream Race and secure this dragon as well. Spotted by the Sentinel, but that is of little consequences. The fight itself looked like it could have gone very well for Oplon. That ultimate from Rika really didn't hit too well. Blister ulti actually immune to Twist from getting hit by the shockwave, but the Stormbringer from Shio gave him enough bonus HP to survive the Kalista Rend, and once Kalista doesn't have Rend, it makes it very difficult for her to continue to teamfight and continue to dish out the significant damage that comes from that Rend. And you can see that, right? Shio goes forward here, has to settle for a stun on Nautilus, and Shenfire does get chain CC'd here. But he gets a knock-up onto Rika, gets a knock-up on to Dream Race as well. It is that bonus HP from Shio that keeps him alive. Deco flashes a little bit further forward, but that flash from Dream Race is again enough to buy the time. And then just as you think maybe Oplon have got out, they see Adam walk around the wall, and Adam is just like, well, I have seen my target, I will take them, and thank you very much. RKO'd them into the wall.
Yeah, just disappointing for Oplon. I feel like it can't really be overstated how... It just feels like time and time again for this team, it's very much the case that that brick gets thrown by them, but unfortunately it ends up being the last Jenga piece that means their own towers comes tumbling down. It's almost like the aggression comes at the cost of the game falling apart. You see now 50 CS lead in the top side. Dalek's going to get engaged on by Shio. This should be a very routine job now. Your ultimate comes out in response, but the Yi is there to respond, and the game just falls apart for Team Oplon, unfortunately, as soon as that advantage gets granted, rather. Shio ultimate's out here, trying to find Adam, but Adam's just going to walk out here.
Yeah, and he's just going to set movement speed his way through the
Lister's going to be here to respond on the other side here, but he's probably just going to get executed. Yeah, he does. And it's disastrous for Team Oplon. We spoke about it before. They take out this brick, and it just means that their whole foundation just comes tumbling down in such a dramatic fashion. They're not really able to find many responses. They get a very lucky play granted to them by a misstep by Crowny and Dream Race, but from that point onwards, just very poor ability to kind of, finish off some of these team fights. I feel like that kill on Shio was really important if they'd maybe diverted somewhat more attention, potentially from Peng there, a few more cooldowns the way of Shio. Could have maybe turned the tide of that, but seems to be a recurring trend for Oplon at least.
Yeah, there's a lot to be learned, I think, and certainly they'll be hoping to do that and make sure that those initial kills are going their way. I think that, like you say, that first kill was something that should have been picked up and would have most likely been secured, but we have got a Rift Herald spawning up in about a minute's time now, and you can see that BDS Academy diverting a lot of attentions up to this top side as they merely walk over a pink ward, and Dalek is forced to, all the way back to his tier 2 turret, which also, by the way, is not safe for him. Little attempted play on the bot side there onto Rika as Shenfire was trying to pick off the Orianna, but snuffed out was red, and now mid lane they're going for their own little play, nothing really to come from. BDS Academy do still have that window where they can try and force this mid tier 1 down before getting that Herald, but likelihood is that they'll secure the Herald and then try and break the turret with it.
Shio is so scary with that turbo chem tank and karma speed up. It's just like Zico has to...
And on the cloud tile.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to be so scared every time he sees that running towards him.
He has got Cleanse, and he has got Nautilus.
And an Immortal Shield, though.
The hope is that will be enough. The realistic answer is...
No.
If it's just Shio, maybe. If it's Shio and anyone else, not a chance.
If it's Shio with a ball on him, then
yeah, exactly. If it's Shio with literally anything else, there is very little chance.
They're all spawning in for the second.
And we say very little chance. Very little chance of survival. The important thing for an ADC. Very difficult for Zico to try and play this one out. There's a lot of front line to try and cut through. Without the
and he has to be the one.
The
problem is he has to be the one to play it out. I mean, who do you look to on Oplon? Your top laner is absolutely just an insurmountable deficit at the moment. The economy
in the
for
bin.
him and the top side is just absolutely in the bin. He's taking out a loan from the bank of Runeterra at this point. The amount of items he's been able to surmount himself. That's that Divine Sunder, but not much else. I think he's only just about been able to pick that up. Rift Herald in the mid lane is going to mean that tier 1 goes down. They're going to be marching it towards this tier 2 as well. Should be able to stifle off. Engages come onto Rika here from Twist. It's a good angle. Ultimate comes down to Brownie now. Schoenfire needs to find more though. Dalek gets a kill. That is a rend. Execute over to Zekor's Kalista. It's 1 kill before this dragon is coming up now. Rika's going to have teleport when he's up now, but Oplon have a little bit of space now. You would have liked to see them get more. It's always the case. Oliver Twist is Oplon's story. They always want more, but they get denied by the snapping hands of BDS Academy.
I mean, this is still good, right? They get that 1 kill. They deny the push and deny the turret going down in the mid lane. Overall, that's a good play by Oplon. They come out relatively even. They were going to lose that mid-tier 1 turret regardless. They managed to find themselves a kill back from it. So, you know, not too bad. Ooh, okay. I mean, this is saying that Oplon don't want to fight for Drake.
Yeah, to me, that's very much acquiescing to the commands of BDS Academy. Rika's going to be getting stunned up here. Means that Peng tries to get away with a flash, but not going to be able to do so. It's just very sloppy.
I don't think the Victor ulting the wave there was the play, but I think that regardless, he's going to die. There were enough TP wards, or that TP ward in its essence was going to be enough to let Rika in and get him that kill. So overall, he gets the wave. He's likely not going to need his ulti for any time soon with no particular objectives coming up. It is what it is. BDS Academy are continuing to find those leads. They use the TP there to sort of ensure that they get the dragon and as well manage to find a bonus kill on the mid laner for Oplon, which I think is you know, that linchpin, I think, of their composition as we get later into the game. The Vix was really somebody we would be looking towards, but that's just, again, decelerating and slowing down how quickly he's going to get to that point. It's 2 items on Adam. It's 2 items almost as well. Okay, on to Crowny. And when these two are really starting to get online, I think that with Adam pushing in a side lane, Dalek never really has an answer. He's got a longsword versus a completed Blade of the Ruin King in terms of non-mythic items. Yeah, you can see the difference.
Yeah, completely. I think it goes understated. There's obviously the Blade of the Ruin King rush from Adam to kind of further embolden that snowball that he planted himself. And now with that mythic, going to mean that Camille has even more difficulties, like you're saying, getting away, especially with Oliver and co. But now Adam, like you're seeing, with that Demolish, can just do whatever he wants to these turrets, and there's not much damage in response. He does get not buffered quite, but Dalek is able to find his way out here. Blade of the Ruin King proc here means that a lot of damage comes out in return.
I'm surprised he didn't keep going there. I mean, you got the blade pop. You know that Dalek doesn't have hookshot. I think that was just a kill right there. At least, you know, burning something from Dalek, but wants to keep those cooldowns available, I suppose. Wants to make sure that he's not too overextended and gets taken out. But at the end of the day, with BDS Academy shadowing up toward this top side there, making sure that they're also able to take away all of these jungle camps, denying again gold from Schoenfire. He's reached level 11. He's got his Divine Sunderer. This is probably about as good as it gets for Schoenfire for the next, I'll say, 10-15 minutes, and that's if they even get past this.
Yeah, I'm expecting BDS Academy to be able to put on a bit of a stranglehold now. You can see how much of their vision is moving into that top side around that Baron area, whereas Oplon, in contrast, their vision is very much centered around those 2 pink wards you see around the Dragon area. I think when it gets to a point, if it is the case of BDS Academy haven't acquired this Baron in the next 3 minutes or so, it might serve them. You can see them start to move this vision set up more towards topside to delay and relay information around this Baron. It is going to be the case that continually Adam starts to rattle away at these side lane turrets, and Oplon have to come up with answers, and they're kind of they're starved for answers at this point.
I think crucial item spike has been hit. We've got that. Okay,
Dalek finds an engage onto Adam. He doesn't have an ignite out here, but Dalek doing a lot of damage here. We're going in for an engage here. Rika's Peng is here as well, though. Ultimate has been used by Adam, and it's a crucial pick for Peng's victor here. A lot of gold injection for him. Very well.
Yeah, really good Dalek. dodged out on the face breaker, meant that he didn't get comboed by the face breaker haymaker combo and doesn't take, you know, upwards of 700 true damage to the face. They're able to find that kill. Peng gets it as well, which is going to have accelerated him towards that completed Hex core, which is obviously a very big spike for the victory. It means that all of your abilities begin to slow. He's probably not quite there yet, but it's a nice little play, a nice little injection of gold to Peng. Yeah, you can see he's not quite upgraded. Actually, I can't tell. Yeah, he's on 88, so he needs a little bit more CS, but then he will have upgraded his Hex core. One more wave and he'll be there ready to go. My important item spike that I wanted to hit on was the fact that Zico had actually completed that Rage Blade. He is currently at probably the best peak of a Callista's damage, probably about as good as it gets for him. For about as good for about the duration of the game in terms of single target damage. This is really a top tier position for Callista to be in. So if Oplon are going to fight at any point, I think it should be within the next 2 minutes or so before any other item spikes are hit by other carries, and before, of course, Oplon's ADC himself starts to trend a little bit downwards in his power curve.
I am reminded of a game for Oplon, I believe it was the last game, actually, whereby Zico picked up a quadra kill after just being completely torn apart the entire game. Oplon were able to find kind of an overzealous team, which is a theme we've seen from BDSA Academy in some of their games. They were, the team that Oplon were against, kind of tried to force themselves to a victory a bit too early, and Zico was able to get that quadra kill. Obviously didn't result in a kill, but did offer a slight glimmer of hope. Whether or not he can come up big in some of these later game team fights is a big question mark. Has both summoners available. That Soul is going to be spawning in. I don't think it's necessarily a massive deal for them to contest it.
But I think that they should. Okay, hook wide.
Goes wide. Dalek decides not to go over. Shunfire trying to look for an engage here. Uses W here. He's going to get stunned out. This is bad. Shunfire does have red smite. Does have flash away. Crowley has to utilize his flash there. Dalek goes in, going to be taking quite a lot of damage in response. Oriana ult does go on to Zcor. Zcor has found his way outside of this fight. How much damage can he do now? Dalek has been... Shio has found Twist though in response. Zcor goes down as well. He gets caught there. You thought just by the ability from both summons and the shield though he'd be able to do something, but this is too much raining down. They get Shio, but they can't get through any of these shields.
And Adam able to sprint down from the top lane, able to just be there, that presence, the body that gives BDSA enough damage, enough control to take that fight. Crowny and Dream Race are going to secure this dragon. And just really good presence of mind from the BDS Academy team. They're just looking constantly, trying to find that Wukong, trying to mark him and point him out. They do exactly that. Shio's able to find the engage. It's not necessarily the greatest engagement for BDS Academy, but it's enough to stop Shernfire from doing it. You can see here that they're just walking up towards him because that's the point of engage for Oplon. When that hook's gone down from Twist. Spent so long trying to channel getting over the wall. It's a good flash from Crowley as well to stop it from happening, but then Dalek chases just a bit too far forward. The shockwave catches G-Core, and then his entire summoner spells are burnt really before the fight starts. It's a good attempt at Savior from Oplon. They do commit a lot of resources to prevent him from going down initially, but then of course steps just a little too close to the sun, and committing to the death on Shio means that he commits to his own death as well.
Yeah, completely. I think Oplon, like I said, you talked about how they needed to contest that Soul. Now they're going to be getting contested around this mid lane. Shunfire gets engaged on Karma Q. Mantra getting utilized here. Dalek has a counter engage here, maybe. Whether he goes over the wall or not.
Now the focus of these teams should just be the Baron. I mean, for Oplon specifically, their focus should be preventing the Baron. For BDS Academy, it should be trying to secure it. Their Baron, not necessarily the fastest. They actually need Adam there to dish out that meaningful, consistent damage. They do have Blade of the Rune King on Crowny in fairness, but they're just going to go for another fight, it looks like, with Karma.
This finds an engage here. Fate School comes out. Dalek is onto Crowny now. Look at this. Crowny doesn't have flash here. Crowny goes down. Dalek has found it. Rika's down as well, though. Zekor's coming up huge. Facebreaker does pop that Immortal Shield Bow. It's a massive victory for Oplon in this team fight. Can they find more? Can they get Dream Race? Dream Race going to be eating himself away here, trying to get away as fast as possible. Shio is here as well. W doesn't land. He walks away from the Mantra W.
Try and prevent the Baron, try and take the Baron. Oplon, they come up huge in the team fight by all three carries, all three laners, and they're going to get the Baron as well. Shio does have ult, does have smite, but he does not want to go in there, doesn't want to give over even more gold, even more of way back into the game. Oplon, seemingly out of nowhere, turn a fight, and they could have just turned the game.
They definitely could have. I mean, it's obviously a lot of towers they're going to be able to get. If they can get these towers from this Baron, they've been able to economize themselves in such a stalwart way forward. There's a lot of gold to be gained on the map now, especially with the Victor 1100 gold or so away from these Rabadons. It's a crucial spike for him. Hitting it at level 15. You see a lot of the levels starting to be acquiesced. An even level in the top lane as well. And whilst he's behind that item or so, we spoke about how this matchup can kind of shift once you get to this 3-item part.
I mean, Dalek just playing a truly great team fight right there. Acknowledges his target, goes straight for him. He wants Crowny. Crowny's got no flash. Goes forward and manages to find him. It's just beautifully executed and really good manipulation from Oplon.
Zico has cleanse, but no flash. He gets engaged on here. He goes into stasis. Shermfire's trying to find space for him here. They've survived the initial burst here. Dalek has push in the top side as well, and with no Elder here, no space to be gained. Oplon survive another team fight. They survive another few minutes now. If you're an Oplon fan, you're probably thinking there's a bit of hope now. I'm starting to feel it as well.
Shenfire there. MVP, honestly, with the Cyclone, just stops Shio in his tracks, and it stops Zico from going down effectively. Would have had to, at the very least, burn the cleanse. Well, Shockwave is some good damage, but it's not to deter Oplon.
Alex fighting too here. Adam and Chio here. Can have an E in a second or so, whether or not he can stave up from some CV here. CC rather, he does get picked up here, and it's bad from Dalek. He's played some of these team fights so well, but gets caught out in the side lane, and that means that the Baron isn't really able to... They're not able to find the turrets they were looking for. They really needed to crash open this game through the mid lane, get that turret, and then probably set up for that Elder, but no, it's not going to be the case with Dalek being taken down. It's going to mean, rather, in contrast, they're going to find pretty hard-pressed to stop an inhibitor, or at least some of the damage on the turret being going down. Actually, no. We have a lot of wave there.
Yeah, the Baron buff itself is actually a fairly big deterrent in terms of trying to take the turrets for BDSA. It probably, like you say, means the end of the push, and it does mean that Oplon's chances to get back into the game have just been...
Look at Zico's inventory.
Kind of kneecapped a little bit. Look at whose inventory, sorry?
Zico's inventory. He's picked up the Bloodthirster, which I think it's a really... I like the item here in terms of... I think you just want to do as much consistent damage as possible. You have people around you that can pick up the pieces in terms of your DPS numbers. You're going to be able to get so much lifesteal. I'd assume he's gone for overheal in his runes as well. Not entirely sure, but that will be giving him a lot more of a shield as well. Synergize as well. He's going to have a lot more survivability. Obviously had the stasis from that stopwatch in the previous fight. Doesn't have that anymore. Not opting in for that GA second because I think he's sold it.
Needs damage, right? GA is not a damage item. Bloodthirster, a little bit more so, a little bit more lending towards that damage.
It's 3 items though, as well. 3 items on Peng and 40 seconds until his Elder has level 16 as well. Oplon have a good chance to win this fight. If they do it, they can crack open the game. If BDS Academy win this fight though, it's the end of this Cinderella tale in this game for Oplon. Staring down 0-5.
And this poke from Rika doesn't necessarily matter. This is why that Bloodthirster is going to have really big ramifications. It's if Oplon can allow Zico some access to a minion, to anything life that he can steal from, it's going to be a really nice little source of health back. Now, they're making a really good call here. They know that the vision is set up largely toward the top side of the mid lane, and they're going to go into the area that's a little bit less decorated with wards. They found their way into the river. They found their way to a fight.
And then engage onto Adam. How much damage can be done onto him? Shermfire looks for an engage on Rika that stops him getting away. Adam's in stasis here. Twist and Co are trying to find him. They spent so many resources trying to get Adam, but can they get him? Zico hangs the face breaker now. Zico so low. How much can your Bloodthirster do for you is the question here. Shield here. Shio, they tried to find Shermfire. Ultimate comes out. Fate's call. What can be found? Shermfire is so low. Twist goes down into stasis. So much time here. So thin margins. Crowny finds a kill onto Shermfire. Dalek's going to try and have to get out here, but he's going to get caught out as well. Stasis. Here comes Shio. E is not going to find much. Dalek flashes away, trying to buy as much time as possible. It's an interesting flash. He's just trying to buy as much time as possible.
Base now from Rika has got TP. Elder Drake available.
Over the wall now.
Not done yet. They want to go for their own fight, but they can't find it on their terms. Rika got back to base. He's teleported back in. Adam has TP in 10 seconds. Dalek has TP in 40.
Elder's gone.
Churnfire dead. The Elder is going to go over. The Baron spawning in 1 minute. This is going to segue into both neutral objectives, and BDS Academy do what they need to secure the Drake.
Shame for Oplon here. You felt like they found the engage initially onto Adam, but Adam is playing set. He has so much ability to kind of dodge out from this damage, has the stopwatch as well, and it just meant that too many crucial cooldowns burned to find that. By the end of that fight, Zico was chunked out to about 20%. shield bow was propped as well, and it meant that they weren't really able to turn. When it came to that, the Karma buffing them forward, it really meant that 4v, even that 4v5 was able to be turned in their favor.
Yeah, overall has just been a close affair through the mid game. The early game, surprisingly, was, you know, like I say, a bit more favoured toward BDSA, but I think Oplon just got a little bit too bogged down in that early stage to try and now fight around this mid game. They're already down such a tremendous amount that it's difficult for them to try and come back, to try and put themselves in a beneficial position, really, in any capacity. And now they're up against this Elder. There's no chance they try and contest this. They were down enough gold to begin with. The Elder Drake buff itself is just the icing on the cake, really, for BDS Academy. Looks like Dalek in the bot lane is going to try and break open a tier 2 turret, but what BDS Academy get back with this Baron and Elder combo is likely to be much greater.
Yeah, you're going to see the base being cracked open here. It's going to be very difficult for Oplon to offer up any sort of resistances. Your only real wave clear comes from Peng. It's going to be difficult beyond that to stop a Baron push. You see them going for the reset here. They're going to get onto the map, stop Dalek, reset the map, and then look for those inhibitors.
It should just be a controlled closeout now for BDS Academy. Windows for Oplon to take fights. They've got a 3-item Victor now, so Peng certainly should be dishing out his fair share of damage in these team fights. Has gone for pretty much as the highest damage build path you can go for. We have Ludens, which gives you the passive M pen based off of any other completed legendary item, plus the magic pen boots and Shadow Flame. So, like I say, as much damage as you can physically pick up, really, without having gone for the Void Staff, and stop watching the inventory just to be a little bit safer, just in case it does get picked off. There are a lot of tools to Oplon's team fighting if they can facilitate them. If Peng can go huge, if Zikor can find the time, but your eyes should be on Adam, should be on Shio to run interference and be that massive destruction factor.
Yeah, completely. Look at how Oplon don't have much resistance, and this space is getting open up now. Adam has that wave in the mid lane they're going to be able to transition towards. See Shernfire rather tepid in anticipation. It has to use the ultimate to burn out that wave here. He gets chunked out so much. The Elder buff hasn't been able to burn him here. I think that's gone now. It's worn off now. Both inhibitors. I don't think they get much more than here. They don't have those super minions. They do have Baron waves coming in, though. They might just look for an end here, or look to pressure out the Nexus turrets at least.
Certainly go for it, but this is where Oplon may look to fight. They have no Wukong ultimate, which makes these disengage very difficult. It makes any sort of fight around these Nexus turrets extremely hard to come by, as Dalek just getting half HP chunked by Adam. He's going to need to go back to base.
Well, it's an engage onto Peng there. Shernfire doesn't have ult to respond with. Peng trying to do as much as he can with these E's here. Dalek does have the Guardian Angel available, but it's going to be difficult for him to do much more. He has to go back to base now. Twist is standing at the turret now. With that turret falling now, it's both Nexus turrets falling out. Engages need to be found here. Fate's Call coming onto Rika here. Zico's trying to find one more here. He finds one, but it goes into stasis. He's not going to be able to find it. But Peng has found Volley Bear. Shio goes down. It's a set ultimate in response. Shernfire goes down. Twist and Zico trying to do as much as possible, but they can't quite do it. Dalek has GA available now. Green Rays flashes forward. Zico is not dead yet. He's going to be able to dodge out the Ezreal ult here. Fancy movements here. He's not able to do it. Cleanse does come out. Crowny finds him as well. Teleport comes out in response. Rika's back into the fray now. Dalek is trying to find him here. They do manage to get it one more. It will do it. Here comes Peng. Find the W onto them, but Adam is going to be too massive here. It looked like a bit of hopium for Oplon at the final stage here, but they're not able to do it. And much like many games, they just fall apart at the wheels. It was a moment of hope for them, but they can't quite manage to do it. BDS Academy moved to 2-3. Oplon, unfortunately, going to be 0-5 now.
And a very tight late game fight. The crucial points of Oplon that we highlighted actually started to step